Welcome in everybody to the NBA playoff DFS and award show right here on Win Daily Sports. I'm Tony. You got Ghost, you got Adam. It's been a minute. You know, you've been seeing me and Adam's mug almost every other day, and Jason on the MLB pre-lock show. But now we're gonna go talk and review the NBA show. We're gonna talk. I'm sure it's gonna get heated towards the end. We're gonna talk awards. We're gonna break it down. You know who we're picking: six man, most improved player, offense, rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, MVP, coach of the year. And then we're going to look at the bracket. You got the bracket run on the screen, whether it be playing tournament, whether it be who we think is going to advance into the second round, and it better be the Sixers. We're going to talk about that as well. Again, follow us at Win Daily Sports, all social formats. Hit the subscription, hit the like button. You know the drill. In the comments, let us know what you're thinking. You know, what's your predictions in the first round? What matchup are you looking at? What matchup are you least likely to watch? Maybe you might bet it, but you might not want to watch it, right? There's a lot of those games as well. So let's break right into this. Go, since I haven't seen you in about a week, man. Just want to make sure that it sounds like you're still living well, and you're ready for these NBA playoff action or what?
Yeah, this is kind of more flying under the radar with MLB kicking off, but I've been watching your guys' shows. You guys are absolutely killing it, and now it's time for MLB to shine. So we had a great NBA season, and I'm really pumped to see the playoffs begin on Saturday. Obviously, the playing games have been nothing short of exciting, that's for sure. So Saturday is going to be good. I'm curious to see what happens with guys like Luka. Denver doesn't sound like they're getting their guys back either. They're going to be in tough. We don't know if Steph is going to be 100% either. So a lot of storylines heading into this one, including the Raptors getting none other than the 76ers in the first round. So I'm really pumped. It's going to be a good playoffs.
Yeah,
almost every series here is must watch TV in my opinion.
Yeah,
like I don't see a single series where it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch that. Like every series is, I'm going to tune into every game as much as I can.
I agree. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I think the only series that might kind of be the exception, the one in the East is the Bucks versus the Bulls, because I just think that's going to be over pretty quick. But you even then, like, you can still be watching Giannis in the playoffs. That's always fun. And then unfortunately, you know, if the book is correct as they usually are, they're kind of telling us Luka Doncic is probably not going to be playing too much of this Jazz series. I'm really bummed. I was kind of looking forward to that. Luka was in, just top form coming in. Jazz are minus 300 for the series. That tells me they fully expect Luka to miss some of it. So, without Luka, that series definitely takes a hit. But we'll see. Maybe he makes some miraculous comeback, but doesn't look positive for them right now.
That sucks. I mean, whenever you
it does, man. I don't know, man. You needed, if you controlled your destiny for the 3 seed, I'd be fine playing my guys, but you didn't.
Right.
I don't know. You knew you were going nowhere without Luka. I get it's easy to say now. I would have said that Sunday before that game tipped off. Like, don't play him. You needed too much help.
I agree, man. I agree. It's going to be bad. It sucks. We talked about this, whether, even with our biggest rivals, no matter who they are, I was getting into with Jason about the Mets, like with DeGrom. Like, as much as I don't want DeGrom, looks like they don't even need him right now because they're all smoking the Phillies anyway. But, he is one of, if not the best player in baseball from the mound. And it's a shame. It kills all of us because that's who we want to see. But you already got Jimmy checking it, says 2 observations for last night. 1, Nets ain't winning anything. And 2, why the Wolves act like they want a champions. Listen, Cat predicted, he announced himself as the greatest big man shooter of all time because he won a freaking 3-point contest, right? So I understand. That's how they go way over the top, Jimmy. I have no idea. Ivan says, was this an NBA reunion show? And he wants to know, are we getting a Ghost first jigsaw bet for the Raps and Sixers series? Listen, honestly, Ivan, right now, I am not in the mood, man. I am just not. Listen, I am so. Let's talk about this, boys, real fast. Real fast, because I have to. This Toronto Philly series, Ghost, as well as I do, this is not a good matchup for the Sixers, especially with the defensive scheme that Toronto consistently plays. They change it up. Nurse has their number. Harden doesn't look like Harden. There's a lot of things going on. But from the Toronto perspective, man, what are you thinking on this game or this series? Is it going to go 7, do you think, either way?
I think it goes 7. And this is how you could tell my bias is taken out of it when it comes to covering the NBA. I have Philly in 7 in this one.
Wow.
So Adam and I actually split up the conferences. So he'll be covering the West because he gets to cover Joker, and I get to cover the East because I want to write about the Raps. So, but I did pick the 76ers in 7, kind of a turn of events from that 2019 Game 7 loss, being in Toronto, obviously, and this year's Game 7 is going to be in Philly. So I do like Philly in 7. The one thing that I'll keep preaching about the NBA playoffs is that star power reigns supreme in this league. And when you look at the combination of James Harden and Joel Embiid, when it's going to be a winner take all Game 7 on their home court, I'll side with 2 top 10 players in the league versus my Raps, as much as I could talk about how balanced they are and how underrated guys are and how much Scotty Barnes has improved throughout the year and how dominant he was just in his first season, and Nick Nurse versus Doc Rivers. I'm not even going to talk about that because we're trying to get out of here by the end of the. I'll say by the end of tonight. I don't even know if I have enough time to talk about that before midnight. But yeah, I do like Philly in 7 in this one. Toronto gives them. They'll give them a run for their money way more than what people think, but I do have Philadelphia coming out on top.
I honestly, and no bias into it, I feel the same way. And it almost reminds me, guys, of I know I always go back to this year, and it's easy not to, right? The most successful year, since the championship years in the 80s for the Sixers, but in 2001, where we went 7 games against Toronto, we went 7 games against Milwaukee. It wasn't an easy battle for the Sixers to get to the finals. And I think we're going to see the same thing. Unfortunately, they're going to be battle tested, and this is going to be a battle, man. I mean, listen, we this is the 3rd time, right? So in Game 7 in 2001, Vince Carter, I still thought that 3 was going in. He didn't make it, but then in 2019, we got the bounce of Kawhi that goes in and ends the playoffs for the Sixers. So it's going to be interesting. Adam, you're the neutral party here, man. What do you think about this series?
Yeah, I do have it going 7. I guess I'll be on the limb, and I'm going to say the Raps. And it has nothing to do with Joel Embiid. I'm going to make that crystal clear because he's going to dominate. He is. It's not, they're going to double team him as much as they possibly can, and that's cool. But you're still not going to stop Embiid. It has everything to do with every other Sixer on the floor. It has everything to do with not being able to trust Tobias Harris, not being able to trust James Harden, or at least this version of James Harden. Maybe he got an unfair rap earlier in his career for not being able to win. That's fine. You could always kind of fall back on, look how good he played. Look, it was a series of events that made him not win earlier. He's not the same guy right now. He just isn't. He has not shown that in Philly. If it goes to 7, that pressure cooker in Philly, Toronto's not going to care, man. They weren't even supposed to be here. They're playing with house money. I think that pressure gets to Doc. It gets to everybody on the team not named Embiid. And I think the Raps edge them. But this is going to be just an absolute slugfest of a series. It's going to be fun.
It is. I'm telling you, it's going to be. I mean, do we go out on a limb here and say it could be the most competitive and exciting series in the opening round? Oh, what do you guys think?
It's probably gonna be up there. I definitely think
like that Golden State Denver.
Competitive.
What's that?
Come back to me when Curry, if I know what's happening with Curry, because that's
True.
a really major factor in the series that's kind of unknown right now.
No, you're right. No, you're 100% right. Luckily we got Memphis and Ja Morant, right? So that should be an exciting series against Minnesota.
Yeah, that one's not going to last too long, but the game should be exciting.
Yeah, well, it might not last too long, but at least you're going to get some kind of excitement, right? And Cat already proposed he's the best. But what about Brooklyn Boston? Real fast before we get to any other storylines. What do you think of that series right there?
I have the Nets. This is right up there. It's probably one of the tougher ones. I know Boston's defensive metrics. I get all that. When it comes down to it, KD, Kyrie greater than Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and that's really what it's going to boil down to in this series. It's going to be good. I'm not going to be surprised if the Nets lose. Their just lack of defense is just brutal through some stretches of the game. But look, man, they let Cleveland crawl back into it, and what happens? KD walks right down, hits 2 buckets, game over. I get confused as to why they're like the second best team out of the East, betting favorites to come out of the entire Eastern Conference. And then you watch KD do that, and you're like, all right, I get it. Like you just assume they're just going to make those shots when it comes to crunch time, and that's all that really matters in playoff basketball, dude.
I couldn't agree more. I honestly, I mean, for anybody, and again, I'm always biased because I'm a Philly guy, and when we got Harden, it was the best thing since AI, in my opinion, to get another score next to Joel Embiid. But these are two of the. Am I going on a stretch here? Two of the top 5 players in the NBA when healthy on one team. What I mean by Kyrie and KD. I mean, we've talked about this before. If Kyrie is on his game and healthy, I don't know who stops him from the outside. His handle is probably elite in the sense of NBA history, in my opinion, probably the best handle ever, especially on the move. I know, Ghost, me and you had discussions about that as well. And KD is just a monster, man. Like you said, Adam, you let him in. If I'm taking any twosome in this entire bracket, Ghost, how do you not take KD and Kyrie, right?
That's the one game I haven't, or the one series I haven't written up yet, because I wake up and I'm like, oh, I got Boston in 6. Then I wake up and I got Nets and then I got Nets in 6, and it's like I keep going back and forth. I still don't have a confident lean in this one. You guys are gonna have to wait for the Saturday preview for that one, but
absolutely,
honestly, like I'll probably change my mind another 20 times before I publish that article on Saturday. But
honestly, there's a reason it opened as a pick'em.
Well, that's exactly
it. Moved a little bit now, but it opened as a pick'em.
No Robert Williams is a serious problem for the Celtics.
Yep, it is.
I'm not worried about Tatum and JB producing against whatever that is that the Nets play on their own end of the court, because it's not defense. I don't know what they're doing out there, but Tatum's gonna go absolutely wild in this series. But again, man, it's like, hey, you put Marcus Smart on Kyrie. First of all, Marcus Smart might lose Defensive Player of the Year because of this series, because Kyrie's gonna break his ankles at least once per game. So then you look like, who's guarding KD, man? Are you really gonna give Tatum that challenge? Like, you're gonna make him grind like that for 40 plus minutes? He's gonna go and expect to score 30, 35, 40 a night, and then he's got to run back and guard KD one-on-one. Like, I don't know if they have it in them, man. And I was down on this Boston team coming into the season. It looked great up until December 31st. The calendar year turned, and all of a sudden they thought they were the best team in the league. They were playing like it. I'm still not buying it. Their bench isn't deep enough. Benches don't mean much in the playoffs, but when it comes to guys, like if you're starting a guy like Neesmith or Langford or Grant Williams, or like,
it's hurting.
For you're in tough. Like, you have KD and Kyrie on the court at the same time together. You cannot be starting a guy like Grant Williams and expect to win a game. It's not happening. So I'm still torn on it right now, but I lean the Nets, bro. I just want to see a rematch of Brooklyn Milwaukee. That's what I want to see. So and I think that comes to fruition.
That's going to be exciting. That is absolutely going to be exciting. So what about the playing games? Obviously 2 are already there. We got 2 more left, right? So Adam, what are you thinking about the playing games?
I have Atlanta winning tonight, and then I think they take the Cavs down. The Cavs season is going to end on a disappointing note, and that sucks because they were such a great story. It's just been too much to overcome. Jared Allen, Ricky Rubio, Colin Sexton. I mean, just the list goes on and on of adversity they faced through injuries this season. They were just kind of hoping to take the step forward. I think once you get to the offseason, you kind of get some perspective as a Cleveland fan. You're probably going to be pretty happy with this year overall. Still some moves to be made. I think Atlanta wins. Maybe they get a game against Miami. Maybe 2 if Trae Young just goes ballistic in one of them. But, Miami's got to be the heavy favorite, and regardless of who they play. Even if I'm wrong, they play Charlotte, they play Cleveland. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, I don't think it matters either. One silver lining I will say about Cleveland is they're such a young and exciting team that 100%. It was not right. So it was nice to see them hit their stride. So we definitely have something to look forward to next year when everybody's healthy and balling. I mean, Darius Garland, oh my God, man, what a player,
forward.
Man.
Yeah, God. Just a massive step forward this year. And even a guy like Jared Allen, it feels
Yep.
like he's been around forever. He's still
Right.
super young. He's 23 years old.
That's what's
I
crazy.
remember
swear
when he
this
got
guy's
a
been playing for
contract
10 years.
extension.
Yeah,
I remember
like,
when
what
he
the
got that
hell?
5-year, $100 million contract extension, and you text me, you were like, "Man, is this like? I need to get your reaction on this." And I was like, "Bro, it's an absolute steal. Like 3 years down the road into that contract,
Yeah.
it's going to be an absolute steal. He's so young, and he's going to be dominant in the paint. And you kind of got flashes of that this season. And next year, he
Yeah,
can.
he did.
He's really skilled around the rim. He could rebound well. He plays good D on the interior. Like that's a steal of a contract for them.
Those
Yeah.
two and Garland is such an exciting trio to
Yep.
build around and to kind of take that next step forward. And, you just got to wait a year. I mean, look, if
Yep.
you told Cleveland fans before the season started, you're going to make the play-in, they'd sign up in a heartbeat, especially with the step forward Garland took this year.
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. Totally unexpected. Yeah. And again, just great for the game. Final thought goes on the Pelicans. And so what are you thinking tonight? Or not tonight, but tomorrow.
Unfortunately, I think the Pelicans come out. I think it's going to be a one and done for my boy DeJounte, but I'll show some love for him in the awards that we got coming up in the second half of the show there. So I think they're going to be either way. The reason why I'm not freaking out over this game is because either one of these teams is going to lose to the Clippers. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
For me, it's like I think the Pelicans come out on this one. I'd love to see DeJounte go wild and take the game away from New Orleans, but even if that doesn't happen, I can't see either one of them beating Paul George in a winner take all playing game. It's not going to happen.
Well, maybe the Clippers remember they have Paul George in the next game.
Oh, let's hope.
Let's not talk about. Let's just
somebody tell Reggie.
Somebody
tell Reggie that he has
Reggie Jackson wearing the Superman cape. What the hell was
bricks,
he doing, man?
Bro, the guy was building
He's
a home.
layups.
He's not even building a home. He was building a hotel. It's Brick City. My goodness. But yeah,
I want to have the
I can't
confidence
see
of Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. I can't see either one of them getting by the Clippers, but all right, Miami's going to do some serious damage in the East. Been saying that all year, and I'm still feeling that way. I think it's going to be Miami versus Milwaukee, Golden State, Phoenix. I think it's going to be 3-1, 3-1. Like both 3 seeds and both 1 seeds advance. It's going to be a good playoffs. I'm really hoping Utah still somehow finds a way to lose this series, just so I can see Rudy Gobert shipped off to Siberia, also known as the New York Knicks. But that's what it is. I need Donovan Mitchell to get some real teammates.
With no Luka, even for like 2 games, man, that team's gonna get blown up in a hurry. That team's gonna get blown up faster than Frank Vogel got fired by Woj at the end of the season.
I was going to say, completely had no idea. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's got to stop. I'm sorry. That as speaking from a coach myself, man, that's got to stop. That is complete disrespect.
There was no reason for that. That was jacked up. You can agree or disagree whether Frank Vogel deserved to get fired. It certainly wasn't his fault. The roster construction, I thought he made some pretty questionable rotation decisions. But man, like at least keep that lid on that until it actually happens. Let the man get to the friggin' press conference, for God's sake, before Woj is out here tweeting at the buzzer, he's probably gone. Oh, come on, man.
I know.
But the thing is, it's like, they're like, you hear it all the time in any aspect of what you're doing there. You hear like fake it till you make it sometimes, or you think like play the part, or you hear these kind of like sayings, right? The man just had a losing season in the biggest city in the NBA, biggest franchise in the NBA. And he comes out and says, yeah, even after game 82, I still don't know what rotations to run. Bro beans. Like, you keep that to yourself. You don't put that out there in public. Like, then you can't say, oh, well, then he's going to go out and say, oh, I didn't get a fair chance. Well, you just said after 82 games and 7 months of action that you still didn't know who to start. What are you doing all day then? What do you do? What are you working on all day? Like,
it might really suck to be a Laker fan because everything you hear out of that franchise right now is we just weren't healthy. Guys, if you think that was the problem last year, you're going to miss the play-in again. You're going to miss everything again next year, whether you ship Russell Westbrook off or not. because
I
you're
wanna
not going to get a lot back.
I just want to see John Wall hooping again. I want to see John Wall hooping again.
I'm with you.
Can he? I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, I want to see Russ like go absolutely wild and like I don't even know what franchise. Who would he go to? Just anywhere. Like go anywhere where Russ is the entire team. Sell some jerseys. Fill up the stands. I just want to see Russ go wild again. Enjoy basketball because man, that
Like
must have been
in
miserable
Washington,
for him.
man. Like
in Washington, bro. And he
Yep.
did that alongside Bradley Beal. So there's no way that he can't coincide with a star. You know, like it's Bradley Beal. If it wasn't for Steph's absolutely absurd run in those last 20 games of the season, Bradley Beal would have won the scoring title. Right. And Russ was going wild. Like he can coincide with a star. He already proved that. So it's gonna be an interesting offseason.
You got my vote for that. Damn sure.
So I think out west we're all pretty stock in line here, right? Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors, Jazz, right? And nobody's really going to be any different.
I want to take the Mavs. because I can't stand Rudy Gobert, man. I can't stand Rudy Gobert.
I'd love to, but there's no way Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson is beating the Jazz. As much as I dislike the Jazz,
Maxi Kleba can put up a 3. All right, Maxi Kleba. I don't even know if I can say that with a straight face, but
like the only kind of caveat. The only caveat as far as series lines goes is I don't know if the Warriors are being coy with Steph Curry or if like he's actually still hurt. If he's hurt and he's not playing, I think Denver can at least make it a series.
I'll stop
they
you
can
right
make
there.
it a series.
No.
I'm not saying they're going to win. I still would pick the Warriors. I'm just saying it can make it a longer series than it would be. If Curry's back even 70%, it's probably like a 5-game series.
Steph's going to be good, and they're going to remember last year's playing when they meet Memphis in that second round.
That'd be
rematch of the play-in too. Memphis, Golden State. So
I mean, Memphis ain't backing down, man. Those boys talk some trash.
Oh my God, don't they?
They talk a lot of smack, and rightfully so, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so fun to watch. I love it.
They're allowed to talk when you're Patrick Beverley, who's scoring like 3 points a game and a couple boards, couple assists, and just chattering like a knucklehead through the game. Yeah, eventually you get tired. Can't say much about Memphis, man. They backed it up more nights than they didn't.
I love that. I'm a big trash talker. I love that part of the game. I hate the taunting rule in the NFL. I love trash talking, man. I want to talk so bad. Someone
part of the
punch me
game.
right in the face.
It's part of the game.
You know what I mean?
It has to be a part of the game. Like I'm not a fan of. I'll second that. I'm not a fan of the taunting or whatever they call it. Like that new reason to throw the yellow flag out there, man. It makes no sense. Like you got to be able to just take it. If you want to dish it, you got to be able to take it, and that's what it is.
It's weak.
Don't be running out on tables when you win a play-in game, but you gotta be able to take it.
So go ahead. What's that, Adam?
I just said I fully with you guys on that one.
Yeah, you got to be. Listen, if you can't take, I know it's cliche, but if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? It's what they always say, and it still resonates today. So again, any final piece of information? I would say just obviously keep my man Big keeps Tony Philly coming out. I want someone to be. I'm serious. I want to get somebody so riled up. Like I really like. It's funny. Full transfer. No FCC rules here. I coach 15, 16-year-old boys in soccer, and I gave them a pep talk the other night because we got in a really chippy matchup over the weekend. If you can believe that, I get thrown out of a lot of games. So, I'm ready to throw down on the sideline. Like I'm yelling at parents on the other team. Like, everybody's a fair game. So, and I noticed the kids start getting chippy. So I said to the kids, I'm like, listen, I'm a crazy fucker, man. Seriously. I'm like, but do me a favor. Let me fight. All right. Now, let me be the guy to fight and I don't fight fair either. So I got people that really want to beat my ass. Trust me, on the soccer field. So I know it. So I fully support getting rid of that taunting rule because that is just unbelievable. It's so weak. But let's get into these awards, man. Let's have some fun. You see the bracket. Obviously, you're being Discord. You're going to see the articles come out. You already see how it's going to be split up between Ghost, Adam, all about West and East. Make sure you're getting in there to get your obviously your up to the minute information. And good luck on those winning tickets. Ivan says, if you ever need an assistant coach, I'll fly to. Yeah, Ivan. I already got that. You could be Jigsaw's protege, man. Be my assistant. Trust me. I will need one. Believe me, because love my assistant coach to death. But if we got to throw down, ain't happening. I will tell you, I taught my 22-year-old daughter how to fight at a very young age. And I say this all the time. If it's 2 a.m. and I'm in a barroom brawl, there's one person I'm calling for backup, and that's my daughter, because she probably kicked my ass too. Let me just tell you that. My wife is truly afraid of her, believe me. I love the kid. So let's talk about some MVP awards, right? And I say that because you know where we're going to go at the very end of this into the MVP. Hopefully we don't get a long period discussion because I'm hungry, Ghost is hungry, and obviously we'll want to get to the kitchen. But let's start off right away with the Sixth Man of the Year. So obviously I love the Sixth Man of the Year award. We go right to you guys because for me, I'm not going to tell you who I picked, but it resonates well with me because again, in 2001, Aaron McKee had a hell of a year for the Philadelphia 76ers. Temple made, now coaching with Temple. He was electric as a sixth man. So, Adam, right off the bat, Sixth Man of the Year award, who's it going to?
Yeah, this one's probably the easiest. It's Tyler Hero. He pretty much had it on lock from about the second week of the season. I thought there was a point Kevin Love could at least make a run for it, at least make it an interesting battle. Didn't really happen. There wasn't enough consistency there. Tyler Hero's just going to absolutely run away freight train with this award, and he should.
I love Tyler Hero. What do you think, Ghost? You in the same boat?
I just can't wait to cash my Tyler Hero ticket from the preseason. That was I had Tyler Hero I have a Tyler Hero Most Improved Player ticket and a Tyler Hero Sixth Man of the Year ticket. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. I gotta get Jansen to pull up that clip. Actually, we gotta get that out there.
Gotta let me know, man. Let me know when it is, and I'll get it up.
I think it was John that did the show with me. I don't remember, but yeah, we got it all.
Was it preseason? Preseason.
It was preseason. Okay. I gotta get you that clip. But I had a lot of love for Philly guys in the awards. Unfortunately, no one really came through other than Joe. But Tyler Hero was the guy that I was put a lot of money on.
Tyler Hero is a hell of a player, man. We talked about him. I love watching that kid play. I love his motor, love his passion. I listen. He's really worked too over the last year and a half too. And I mean, God, the kid is so good. He's a starter on any other NBA team too. That's what's so great about him, no doubt. But you mentioned Most Improved Player, Ghost. So I kind of feel like this is right in your backyard here for Most Improved Player. Are we going to Toronto angle here?
I'm not going to. But this is where so I don't think it's not like an official rule there. It's not set in stone. I just don't think that somebody will win 2 awards, right? It's pretty rare. If DeJounte doesn't win another award that I'll nominate him for, I have him for Most Improved Player. And it's drastic increases in points, in rebounds, in assists, leading the league in steals. Like, this was one of those jumps where I get it. Ja brings the flash, and it's a lot of ESPN highlights, and it's a lot of dunking over people. His numbers really didn't all that move when you actually look at them. His scoring went up, yeah, but he's taken 5 to 6 more shots a game. Like, I would hope your scoring goes up, right? His rebounds and assists stayed stagnant. He actually dished out less dimes this year than he did last year. So for me, it's more like, hey, are they going to give it to Ja because he took that step where he's closer to being into that elite of the NBA? Or do they actually stick to their roots, which is what they usually do? It's usually just year-over-year growth. You look at it like a guy like Giannis won Most Improved Player too, and it's just DeJounte's that guy for me today, man. No bias at all. It's just what I've seen out there. He's taken leaps and bounds in every single aspect of the game. So he's my vote for Most Improved Player of the Year right now.
I ditto that, and I keep thinking of nightmares that in a sense that he could have been possibly a Philadelphia 76er. So
I remember we had this conversation, and you were telling me, you were like, man, like, I gotta run this by you. You're like, I gotta pick your brain. What are you doing for Ben Simmons? I was like, 1-for-1 DeJounte Murray. And this was last offseason when his value was still like, obviously his value was still high. You got James Harden for him, but I was like, 1-for-1 DeJounte Murray, you won't regret it. And then you look at that this season, that it would be a different Philadelphia team. Not that obviously I love James Harden there, and he's a top 10 player in the league, but
still,
you look at what
Yeah, but you
DeJounte
would have
Murray
had
brings on
DeJounte for
both
the
ends
whole
of the
year.
floor. Yeah, you would have DeJounte for the whole year, and what he
Younger
brings on
legs,
both
too.
ends of the floor.
Yep.
Like that would have been. It's like a more offensive Philadelphia version of Drew Holiday. You know, like that.
Ooh,
Like that. That's what it. Like he brings the same tenacity on the defense side of the ball, and then you get a way better offense. You get a better rebounder when Joel goes on the bench. But anyways, that would have been fun to see. But we'll
Hey
see.
man, the guy's a triple double. Just he trips over a triple double every single
He
time.
almost averaged
right?
a triple double this
It's
year.
crazy.
Like it's like when you look at that, it's you think who in this league can average a triple double? I mean, outside of prime LeBron, like okay, Giannis doesn't dish the rock enough. You could say Luka could maybe average a triple double. Westbrook's already done that, but he's way past the prime of his career. Like there's not many people that you could say can average a triple double. Man, DeJounte almost did that this year.
Yep.
I think Jokic could have done it if he had better teammates to finish the assist.
Hey, Aaron Gordon is
yeah,
basically Steph out there with the shot.
Yeah,
all right, like it's
sure. Could have just stopped at Aaron Gordon.
Joe, that'd be pretty crazy if Joker averaged a triple double. That'd be nuts. But yeah, it's I'm going with DeJounte for this one.
I like it. I like Adam. What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, we're going to be the same again. And honestly, it is because of everything Go said and the defensive stuff too, which gets overlooked in everything but defensive player of the year usually. Because like I had Desmond Bain for a lot of the year. You look and Ja misses a lot of time. Bain really took a giant leap forward this year. He kept his 3-point percentage. Actually, he nudged it up a little bit this year, despite the extra minutes, despite everything else. But how do you ignore, like, if DeJounte Murray's not a Spur and that team is just as they were this year, do they win 20 games, 22 games? I don't think they do, man. That team is butt around him. So, yeah, it's got to be DeJounte.
It's a good way to put that. He is butt. He's booty. He is that team is booty around him. I like that. But you mentioned defense, right? So let's get to the defensive player of the year. Another great award. It's not talked about enough. Obviously, you're going to see how much the loss of Matisse Thybulle, who was our defensive guy. When they go and play Toronto, because he's not vaccinated and can't play. So, defensive player of the year, Adam. Let's go right to that. I mean, who do you have that's got all the hands out there?
This might kind of telegraph some of my other stuff, but it's Giannis for me. What that guy has done this year, like, it's almost unfair because I think he's getting punished because this is just what he does now. Like, everyone's just grown accustomed to Giannis, but he's even more efficient. He's unbelievable in the defensive end. He didn't have Brook Lopez through a huge chunk of this season, so that kind of forced him to be even more active on the defensive end. Like, the season he just put up, I think when we get like 20, 30 years down the road, we're going to look and be like, holy hell, how did this guy do everything he did for as long of a period as he did? Like, Giannis already has awards like these under his belt. So, yeah, he's in the MVP conversation, but it's usually as a third between, after Jokic and Embiid. I got to get him something. I have to give him something for this season.
I don't disagree with you, man. I've been, again, I love one thing. I love to do more than anything is eat my words when it comes to sports. I do, except for guys I can't stand like Ben Simmons. But for guys that I really respect, I like to eat my words when I've said in the past, I don't really know if Giannis is going to be that guy. I don't think he can develop a shot. I'm so glad that I'm eating my words because he's so exciting. But you mentioned defense. We're talking about defense, and man, the way he can go up and get it in it, and literally he doesn't even fall head of steam, man. He turns one way and boom. Like it is amazing that the vertical leap that this guy has, the way he could just jump out of his shoes. So I completely agree. I love it. A ghost defensive player of the year. Who do you got, buddy?
It's tough for me to decide right now. My top three is Giannis, DeJounte. This is the other word that I would consider DeJounte if he doesn't win most improved player. He led the league in steals this year. He's an absolute force. And when it comes to on-ball defense, I don't know if I would take anybody over DeJounte right now. So there's that. Giannis is the guy in the league that he's the only one in the entire league that averaged over a steal per game and over a block per game. So when you look at the analytics side of things, it's that you look at the highlight blocks, you look at just how imposing he is on the interior, and then he's averaging over a steal per game too. Like, it's just, for me, he doesn't get the appreciation that he deserves on the defense side of the ball, just because we're so used to him dribbling the entire length of the court in 2 dribbles. So that's what we think of when we think of Giannis. But Adam's right. I do like Giannis a ton. One guy I did bet on, and this was more from a value perspective, and not that I would take this guy on my team, but Jaren Jackson Jr. deserves to be top 3 right now. He deserves to be nominated.
I like that.
If the dude could stay on the floor, he'd win it running away.
That's the thing, right? Like, for me, it's, and you guys know, like, especially we cover DFS most of the time and betting, and I love to pick on Jaren Jackson Jr. He can't stay on that. He fouls anybody that breathes within his vicinity. But at the same time, like, when you look how efficient he is when he's out there,
it's ridiculous.
Like, man, imagine if this guy played the minutes of a DeJounte, of a Giannis, of a Joel Embiid, right? Like, that's where he'd be able to have a greater mark. Like, you look at how many times did he get 3, 4, 5 blocks in a game? It's impressive. So I will have Jaren Jackson Jr. in my final 3. Notice how Rudy Gobert is not there. He's not even in my top 5. I don't want to hear anything about Rudy Gobert for this award ever. Guy gets
He's gonna win it. He'll probably win it.
He gets absolutely cooked out there. I'm gonna be blowing up Twitter with an enormous amount of tweets if Rudy Gobert wins Defensive Player of the Year, with just a bunch of gifs of people absolutely cooking him. So stay tuned for that if Rudy Gobert wins.
I know it.
I love it.
It's just, and the main reason why I didn't nominate Marcus Smart or Robert Williams is because if you can be known as the best defensive player on your team, it's tough for me to have you top 3 in the league, right? And like, I know it kind of sucks, but you hear about it in all kinds of sports. Like, you hear about it in hockey. McDavid plays with Draisaitl, who's MVP. You're not even MVP on your team. Like, how is that a decision, right? You hear about it all over the place. So that's where, for me, I'm going to leave the Boston guys out. Shout out Robert Williams and Marcus Smart. Great defensive players. But for me, it's going to be Giannis, Jaren Jackson Jr., and DeJounte. And if DeJounte doesn't win Most Improved, I like him for defensive player. If not, I'll go with the long shot here in Jaren Jackson Jr. I've picked on him enough for DFS, so I'll give him this one.
I like that. I love JJ, man. Nice, young, exciting player. So yeah, I like you paying some homage to him. But let's talk about Coach of the Year. I think this is a very interesting award because I think it can go multiple ways. Obviously, I'm having my own issues with coaches when it comes to Doc Rivers in Philadelphia, but Adam, I think there's more than 1 or 2 guys that deserve this award. So I'm curious, who you think your Coach of the Year is in the NBA.
Yeah, there really is. And this is going to be somewhat unfair because Phoenix has been the best team in the NBA. And yet they're very underrepresented in year-end awards. Like, that's just the way things are going to shake out.
That's a good point.
It's a weird thing to see. And Monty Williams probably should have won it last year, or at least, been right there again. But like, last year doesn't have an effect on this year. And I have Taylor Jenkins because if you had told me before the season that Ja Morant was going to miss, over a quarter of the year, and they're going to be the 2 seed in the West, and they were just going to absolutely destroy teams without Ja Morant in that lineup, I'd have called you nuts. Like, these guys, like, he took the second stringers and beat Phoenix. Like, they didn't play anybody, and they still beat Phoenix. I get it. It's at the end of the year. But Taylor Jenkins, I'm sorry, he's got my edge this year with what he's done with that Memphis squad. It's not to say Monty Williams is not a spectacular coach. Phoenix got better this year. That's impressive, but it's close. I give Jenkins a slight edge just because Ja missed so much time.
I love that pick, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a Monty Williams guy. I wish Monty Williams was still in Philly and they would have gave him the head coaching job when they had the opportunity instead of allowing him to go. But I think it's a great play because you put it out there perfectly. You lost. We were talking about Ja Morant as being, playing like one of the best players in the NBA at such a young age. And then you lose him and you still continue to be in the spot that you're at. I think it's going definitely under the radar for 100%. Really like that pick. Ghost, for you, who's your Coach of the Year, man?
Man, it's tough. I love that pick. I'm going with Monty. And I think they get this one right. Last year, giving it to Tom Thibodeau was interesting, to say the least. I get it. The Knicks,
Wrong.
the Knicks exceeded expectations. Just now, all the things that we see on our elementary school report cards there. That's how I would describe the Knicks last season, all those positive encouragement things. But it's just this year, I think they get it right with Monty Williams, and to see them dominate the way that they did all season long, there was never a doubt from game 1 all the way to game 82 that Phoenix was going to be the 1 seed in the West. There was never a doubt in anyone's mind. Everybody was playing for second. And that's what it was. It was when I look at Boston, for example, this team was nowhere to be found in October, November, December. So for me, we talked about this when I saw Jason Tatum being nommed for MVP and stuff like that. You're nowhere to be found in three out of 7 months. It's tough. This is a regular season award. It's not who finished best. So Boston's out for me. And then when I look at Memphis, man, it's just, again, they exceeded expectations and they're a really well-oiled machine. But you look at how tight that West is, nobody separated themselves from the pack as much as Phoenix did. Like there's not a team that came close to the Phoenix Suns. They went on a crazy run. I think they were like 19-1 or something at one point in a 20-game span. Like that is just, you can't. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's as many games as the Houston Rockets won all season, and they won that in a row. Like it's just that for me. Yeah, okay, they didn't miss Chris Paul for half the season. They missed him in a decent amount. They missed Devin Booker in a decent amount. They missed Cam Johnson. They missed DeAndre Ayton. They had guys missing too. It's not like they were the only team in the league. So
yeah, they did.
I would love to see Taylor Jenkins win. I'm cool with either one of those two guys. I just right now I think it's kind of in the back of people's minds that Monty didn't get his last year. So I think it's going to be tough for Jenkins to win this one. As much as I want to, I just think that based on last season too, I know it's not a last season award, but people think of that kind of stuff when the guy got robbed, and this year they're the only 60+ win team in the league. I think they give it to Monty this year.
I have to, even though, like I said, I love the Taylor pick for Memphis, but and again, this isn't biased, but I have to go with Monty as well. And the only thing I'm going to say, make it quick, the reason why is because, like Go said, I know both teams have missed players, but what he was able to do, we noticed from a DFS standpoint, when they lost Chris Paul, he turned Devin Booker into a different player, something we really haven't seen. A guy that was dishing the ball out, and that was Monty Williams adjusting. He turned DeAndre Ayton into a freaking monster. That's Monty Williams adjusting. So I think he's been able to get more out of his players, and he's been a guy that's been able to adjust on the fly more than any other player, and that's why I wanted him here in Philly. So, but let's get to the ultimate before we get out of here. And I know, again, we're not going long on this, I promise. But we're going to go MVP. And let me just say that I do like the fact that whoever wins it, that finally there is some people that aren't, based in Philly, that are actually coming out for Joel Embiid. Like Stephen A. Smith is, he resonates in Philly. So even though he's national, I don't really go by Stephen A. Right? But when a guy like Kevin Durant comes out and he basically, gives the trophy to Joel Embiid, I kind of like that. But I'm going to say Joe. I'm going to leave it at that. Everybody knows why I think it should be Joe. Both of you guys know, Adam, you specifically talked about in the beginning of the show. I forget what award. I think it was when we were talking about DeJounte Murray, about nobody's talking about defense. Well, when everybody brings up Joker, I don't hear anything about Joel's defense. I hear all these offensive categories, but I don't hear about 5 blocks in 1 quarter to win a game. I don't hear about a guy that's improved his defense dramatically to be able to handle 35+ minutes a game. I don't even see that. So for me, with all the drama that I witnessed in Philadelphia with Ben Simmons and no matter who we got, and I know you could say the same thing about Joker, but Joel put this team on his back and got them to where they are right now. And this would not have happened last year, and it wouldn't happen a year. The progression to me is real. and I think he deserves it. So with that, it's Joel Embiid. Adam, I'll go right to you. I think I know where you're going, but who's your MVP?
Yeah, it's going to be Joker. And what I like about us is we don't have to tear each other's cases down, because I'm getting real sick of that through the media. I can say Joker and say Giannis and Embiid should be in the discussion, and both had otherworldly years, and a lot of seasons would probably run away with the damn thing. Okay. But my thing with Jokic has been since December, no Murray, no MPJ. And yes, I know some of the advanced stats get a little bit ridiculous with Jokic. I don't think that should decide the award. He's still the first player ever in the 2000, 1,500 club or whatever it is. So, just like raw stats, he's got them in spades. Kevin Durant came out for Embiid, and that's cool. Kevin Durant can have, his opinion. He knows a lot more about basketball than any of us sitting here. But the one thing that struck me with Durant is he said, well, you got to do it better than you did last year to win it back to back. That's exactly what Jokic did. Jokic is better this year than he was last season. Jokic is not the premier defender in the league. If you look at who's leading in blocks and steals, or stocks as it's called, which is a hallmark of prime defenders, he's in the top 12. He's right close to Joel Embiid. He's improved his defense dramatically. And the last thing I'll say, I forget which podcast it was on, but this really, really stuck with me. When he was on the floor, their ratios were of a 62-win team. When he was off, they were 17 wins. They were the Rockets. So when Joker was on the floor, they're the Suns. When he's off, they're the Rockets. And just to put it in perspective with his colleagues, Embiid, it was about a 28-game difference, and Giannis, I think, was like 25-ish. So even there, even when you put the other guys in the advanced stat, Jokic was a much bigger split. Embiid and Giannis, man, they were great players. They're so fun to watch. I got to give it to Jokic this year.
Hey, man, it's a valid argument, and that's why it's great to have different opinions. But I do definitely agree that one thing's for sure. Looking at both of these players in their prime, we're definitely blessed. That's for damn sure. So Ghost,
100%, man.
right?
100%.
I mean, I said that again and before. You see the jerseys that hang behind me. I'm very blessed to say that I've watched Jordan in his prime, Kobe in his prime, AI in his prime. So, not many people could say that. And going forward, people that are going to be our age eventually might not be able to have that same luster appeal that we get. And it goes hand in hand with Joker and Embiid. So, and Giannis, obviously. But Ghost, you got MVP. Close out this show, man. Close it out with the hammer.
Who do I think will win, or who do I think should win?
I want to know who should win, in your opinion.
Devin Booker.
Wow. Look at this.
Come on.
And we said that we were, it's going to be like that. And I know that's why I said who I think should win, who I think will win. I think Joker will win MVP by a landslide. I think it's going to be near a unanimous vote. And I think that's just the way it's going to be. Who do I think should win? How can you be the only 60-win team in the NBA and be fighting for Coach of the Year, be fighting for MVP, be fighting for any award? What happened to, when you think of award shows in any context, whether it be school, whether it be work, literally any context, you think this is the best of the best. You think of all-star games, you're saying this is supposed to be the best of the best. That's why Chris Middleton wasn't there this year. It's like, to me, it's the man was on an absolute run all season long. Even with Chris Paul, he was still scoring in bunches. And he put up some quality numbers. It's not like he's out there dropping 20 points and he's 50th in the league in scoring. He averaged a really good stat line. He carried that team when Chris Paul went down in that last stretch. And we talked about this before we hopped on, where it's, it's tough to be able for someone like Evan Mobley to be able to miss the last 10 games of the season for Rookie of the Year versus a middle stretch in January missing 10 games. Well, Chris Paul missed this last stretch of games. This, the crunch time stretch when they need to clinch that 1 seed, that's when he missed. And Devin Booker carried that team, man. So I just think he doesn't get enough love but again, it's to, kind of play devil's advocate, similarly what I was saying about Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. Can you say he's even the best player on the best team? I'm sure some people out there would say it's Chris Paul. And I would say, yeah, I agree with you. And some people would say Devin Booker. And I say, yeah, I agree with you. It's what it is, right? So it's kind of tough in that scenario where you have two great players playing together in the same backcourt. He's not going to get it. I don't even think he's going to be a final three nom. I think it's going to be Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid, the clear top three. And I think Jokic runs away with this one, man. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Embiid had a great season. I said it before, it's kind of tough, and both of them are in the East. If you can't win the East, especially with the condition that it was in this year, it's tough for me to stomach giving my MVP vote to somebody that can beat a Miami Heat team that was relying on Gabe Vincent and Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin and, like large spans of the season, Miami Heat were down their best players and they still finished the 1 seed in the East. It's really tough for me. And I get it. Embiid was out there dropping 50, 25, and who knows what. And he was dominating on the inside and he was an absolute force. But at the end of the day, East versus West seeding is big for me. And if you can't win the East right now, it's kind of tough, especially letting Boston go on that second half run to get the 2 seed over Philadelphia and Milwaukee. It's tough for me to stomach that. And there's no denying I love busting Adam's chops about Jokic and chat every day and texting him every day about it. But at the end of the day, he's MVP this year to me.
Hey, man, you know how much of a struggle it is for me to have been sitting here all half of the season and hear all the Jokic love, but it's okay.
It's tough. It's tough.
I get it. I know. It's all
in my
all
defense, I still took Philadelphia to win first round, even though they're playing the Raps. That's the bone I'm throwing to Joel Embiid is that I took him. I gave him a second round exit instead of a first round exit.
I don't want any exit. I want. And he'll win.
He'll win the chip next year when they get a coach. They'll someone that won't play DeAndre Jordan for 15 minutes tonight in 2022.
This is that. Oh, guess what? That's a whole show in itself. Let me just tell you. So yeah, you're 100% correct. But listen, like we've always said, man, it's been a fun show. We want to get live a little bit, talk a little bracket, and talk about MVP awards and obviously all the other awards as well. So you've heard our picks. We'll be interested to hear what you have to say in the way these come out. Hopefully, Coast can cash all his tickets and add them as well, and hopefully the followers as well. You do the same. Any kind of comments you want, give us to the show, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on YouTube. We will respond. Obviously in Discord, I know Adam has that locked down on the regular, and Ghost is always in there as well. So as always, want to thank everybody for tuning in. Have an entirely great weekend watching the NBA. I know I will as well. Make sure you're following at Win Daily Sports for all our content. We are killing it when it comes to Major League Baseball. And again, NASCAR, golf, you name it. Even though the Masters last week, it's the RBC Heritage this weekend. So make sure you're getting that. The PGA DraftKings for all your information there. As always, everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll catch you back here next time.